Hey guys, okay. Oh boy, that was a mistake. My apologies. Okay, here's the title. Please look at your screens because I don't want to say it, and may have to use a few code words here. Um, I want you to look at these pictures and then this picture. Are you fucking kidding? All right. So let me here. I just need to make the text bigger because I don't know. I'm used to wearing reading glasses now and it just helps me. Okay. So, this is the first time we're doing this. I've been looking for Miles to post something on this. Um, it's only been a couple of days, but I mean, just because there are people lurking about a street doesn't mean anything happened. And if I had and they call them now child, if I had a teenager, a kid, a daughter, son, or son in school, myself, being a Catholic school kid, we would have, uh, what would, nothing like this would have happened to begin with. Uh, and not because of the time and place. There was plenty of crime. There always has been in this city. I mean, I had my first bike stolen when I was a kid, you know. And my dad just looked at me and said, "Well, you're going to have to wait till Christmas to get a new one because that's it. You shouldn't have left it. We had like a driveway. Well, I don't know. We had the alleys. I left it in the alley right outside of our garage. There was a little entrance way with, I believe my dad poured the cement himself and built the garage himself instead of hiring someone with the neighbor across the alley. And I just left the bike there, went up to the house, came back, and it was gone. And I thought, well, who the hell I mean, well, wait, I was like 6. Well, I was bummed out. But then that was it. So, I mean, my parents weren't going to replace that bike. Tough shit, Colleen. I believe it was a hand-me. They didn't even buy the damn thing for me. Um, when I looked at this, I could tell you 100 gazillion reasons why I believe it is fake. It took me a while to get here. It took me, well, it's been about 11 years. I'd say 2014 is when I started going, wow. I knew something wasn't right. I knew shit was weird in 2012. I knew bad shit was going down via that shit that Obama passed in 2012 that became law in 2013. I said, well, this isn't going to be good. Well, I was right. And that's when you started in the US seeing, cameras everywhere and you started being tracked. And all the people that got their quote Obama phones, well, that wasn't just to give the people a phone. That was to get people on board and on the, circuit to follow them. If you don't think that that's what it was, think it is. Because people can get landlines for free via the federal government, or at least I'm pretty sure they can if they live in a low income building or some shit. Okay. So First published August 28th. Oh, I missed it. Oh, it must have been after yesterday morning. I'm going to cut right to the chase since I am sick of these. Now, I'm reading his article. What happened to his head? So here, actually good looking kid, right? Here, I don't even want to comment on this one, the video, which is very easily accessible because it's supposed to be, because you're supposed to be watching this so you can divert from the fact that there is a genocide going on, two genocides going on. One of Christian white men in Ukraine, and one of an entire population in Palestine. And that's okay, because we're going to probably start a war in Venezuela, and then we're going to do one in Iran, and then, this is going to happen, and that's going to happen. And we have a man as the president and a cabinet that is flat out fucking insane. Kristi Noem is probably the worst. Well, no, Susie Wiles is the worst, but all of them are bad. I mean, Trump is palling around with this Howard Lutnick dude who lived next door to Jeffrey Epstein. Nothing to see here. Apparently he had a 5-story townhouse, and every single wall on one side was a shared wall with Epstein's mansion. Okay. All right. What happened to his head? So let us look. FAF. I mean, I can't. So, okay. I mean, fake as fuck, okay? I didn't stretch it, so what happened? It reminds us of the alleged pictures of Adam Lanza, Sandy something, fake, SHOOTER, doesn't it? Oh, yeah. Big time. I'm going to pause so you can look at it. Again, I didn't stretch that. It is straight off of the internet. It is obviously heavily distorted, faked somehow, either by Photoshop or AI. Also reminds us of what they did with Martin Bryant in the Port Arthur FAKE. Always lines and shadows and distortions. I mean, this is not the same person. Please give me a break. The chin is different. There's like a chin dimple here. No. The nose is different. Completely recreated him in CGI as a nut job. So they have done that again here, stretching Westman's head and turning him into some kind of monster tranny to fit the current fraud. I guess this event was created by a competing arm of CIA trying to backwash trannies or stir your brain. Blackwash trannies or stir your brain. Alex Jones gave you the clue on InfoWars. Oh, you bet he did. He was all over this. And the latest person to spout propaganda is this Kyle Anzalone. He's rolled out about 2 weeks ago, and then he's the go-to guy. I always watch what's going on Alex Jones, not because I believe him, but for two other reasons. Well, a couple of them. To see what the White House is pushing that day, for a really good laugh, sometimes flat out on the floor, and just to kind of see, okay, this is what he's doing now, why now, and then what, and then this Kyle Asseloni guy, all of a sudden he's all over Judge Knapp, he's all over Alex Jones, and he's the go-to guy. He's the limited hangout of the month. Alex Jones gave you the clue today on InfoWars. This was on the 28th. Though he is still selling the event as real in other articles, asking why the Democrats are responding to calls for gun control. Good luck with that. You guys don't know. I mean, I'm oh my God. I have, I've told you, my co-op where I shop, I am tight with several of the security guards there. One of them is a bit aloof, but he sits in his Mercedes and smokes weed during his shift. Oh, excuse me, directly after. I've actually smelled it on him in the store, and he'll come up to me and make some joke or tell me I'm walking better or something like that. And I can just smell it on him. And I feel like saying, man, if you're going to bogart that joint, could you just maybe save a little for me in the parking lot for later? It's just kind of like, what the fuck? I mean, I've never said anything to him. Well, one time I was joking with him. I said, what the hell are you doing in that car? He rebuilds cars for a hobby. So he rebuilt this old Mercedes, and he's sitting in there getting high on his way out. I'm like, right there, right, boop, in front of the building next to the door. That's the kind of area I live in, okay? Well, I had the police here 2 nights ago. Did I tell you guys that? Nah, maybe I did. I finally called them. They said, we haven't had any calls here. I said, I know. We haven't called you. That's why I decided to do it today. I said, it's just gotten out of control. They actually treated me with respect, although at first they didn't. They were like, okay, who is this chick and what is she about? And I said, well, I suppose you're wondering why I'm using crutches. Well, yes, we are wondering. Oh my God, it was really none of their business, was it? One guy was just coming at me, and then he calmed down, and then all of a sudden he was like, they realized once they had a conversation with me, and it was an intelligent conversation and well thought out, I was treated with respect. It took about 5 minutes to get there, though. He's asking why Democrats are responding with calls for gun control. This is always, but whatever. Above that first linked piece, we find the title "Massive!" exclamation point. Minnesota trans cult member's father has worked for 29 years as a top-level CIA DoD contractor. Okay. August 28th, 2025, 12:08 p.m. Oops, I messed up. Ooh, I went down to the wrong page, didn't I? Oh, I'm sorry. God, I can't do it. I cannot. Why are so many school shooters' family members linked to the intelligence community? The chin, like I said, is totally different. So he put up a Twitter account, I guess, and he he went to the UW Madison. Oh my god! And St. Paul, Minnesota. So he's like right in my backyard. That's nice. I don't know. Okay. James Allen Westman works as a senior applications developer for Esri, the leading original geospatial satellite ground mapping GPS coordinate system for the Pentagon, Google, and CIA. He's been there almost 30 years. He is now 62, making him rather old to be the father of a 23-year-old shooter. Not really. Alex then shows you that Westman's wife, Mary Grace Westman, worked for the spooky Church of the Annunciation in MLP, Minneapolis for many years, the same church where her son allegedly killed people. Yeah, I mean, I found some of those pictures to be inconsistent, and then I don't know how they got a board that big to cover the window. And I'm thinking to myself, he had all those weapons and he's in a space like that, walking up to, I'm sorry. The parish was established in 1922. The first Mass was celebrated October 1, 1922, at the parish community house located at 4301 Pillsbury Avenue South. The parish then moved to a store at 54th and Garfield. A store? Back in those times? These Catholic churches here in Milwaukee, which is right, if you're not from here, I mean, it's the same setting, the same. I mean, where I live, like these Italians set these places. Hey, my grandmother, my grandfather, very Catholic. I mean, they were going to the churches here. They were built in the early 1900s or late 1800s. But this one, oh no, it was 1922. Okay. A combination church, school, and convent was built by the first pastor, uh, F.J. Lang. Well, that would be Father something. And masses moved to the new church October 18th, 1925. A rectory was built, which was first occupied December 1923. Masses moved to a church. Okay, whatever. That timeline is messed up for me. As you see, aces and eights all over. Ditto for this. The perpetrator killed two children aged 10 and 8 and 10 and injured 18 other people. Wow, it didn't look like there were 15 people injured from the people. They would have gotten the other kids out of there. Just go home, go into the school until your parents come and pick you up. But instead, they're just hanging outside because they need closure and they need hugs for the cameras. Officials did not immediately release the names of the deceased children, of course not. However, they were identified by their families as 10-year-old Harper Moisky and 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel. Oh my God. A Merkel, as in the Jewish Angela Merkel, is a Moisk and a Moisky. What are the fucking odds? Jewish kids going to mass in a Catholic school. We had other religions in our school, but never Jewish kids, and I lived in a very Jewish neighborhood. Well, my area, my section, the chunk that I lived in was. as you moved further toward the school, it was very Italian, German, Polish, Irish, not a lot of Polish. Okay, let's keep going. No. In a city as big as Minneapolis, no. Just my opinion. According to Insta Checkmate and Redaris, Mary Grace Westman now lives in Naples, Florida. So maybe she didn't approve of this project. Her maiden name is Wilson. She is now 67, so she was 44 when she gave birth to Robin. Unlikely. All his siblings are much older. The Westmans are related to the Gordons, Danielskis, Himes, and B. Bergs. Telling us the usual. Radaris and Insta Checkmate both have pages for Robin Westman 23, but curiously, neither site links him to his own parents, either from his page or their pages, indicating that they have made him up completely like Adam Lanza, perhaps using old pics of his siblings. Adam Lanza never EXISTED, being nothing but a ghost created from his older brother Ryan. And remember, LANZA''S's father is top exec at GE. GE being a huge military contractor. But back to the I'm sorry, hang on. Old Church of the Annunciation. One moment. Well, there you go. What's going on now? Effective July 2025, Dennis Zarin became the church's pastor. Huh. Interesting, that guy with a Jewish name became the fake pastor just a month ago. We really don't have, our pastors are listed as father, and then they have, what they're attached to, and hold on a minute. This reminds me of my paper on the fake church shooting in Madison, Wisconsin. Oh yeah, that was fake as fuck. Of last year, which involved the Abundant Life Christian Academy, and they were all wearing pajamas. Part of the spooky Fellowship of Christian Assemblies, which I showed you, looked like yet another CIA front. By the way, I know of many Annunciation churches here, but they're all Greek churches, Greek Orthodox. I do know of one called St. Mary's Annunciation, I think, or something like that, but there's usually a saint attached to it. The Annunciation is the first joyful mystery of the Rosary. I'm still stuck on 4 mysteries. I don't do the 5th one, the one that came into effect under J.P. Tooby before he died. That's okay. So those are said, if you're a Catholic, those are said on Monday, Thursday, right? Yeah. And then Saturdays were appropriate depending upon if it's Lent or Advent or in between. Okay, let's keep going. Effective July 1, 2025, Dennis Zarin, he's talking like it's not a Catholic church, but That guy with the Jewish name became the fake pastor just a month ago. Oh, I'm sorry. Um, I showed you look like, okay, we previously saw churches, cathedrals, and tabernacles in New York City and DC taken over by Intel and turned into propaganda outlets. Oof, that's horrible. We can be sure this has been done in all the major cities and most of the minor ones. My example on, excuse me, see for example my paper on the Golden Suicides, which involved St. Mark's fake church in the Bowery. That's in NYC. Also, C major spook William Sloane Coffin, admitted to be CIA, who ran the fake Riverside Church in NYC. I have hit him in several papers. Oh, and our James Westman has links to Madison since he worked there as well. That creeps me out. I was just there. That's where we got stuck on the airplane. I had to take a taxi back here. I was in their airport. I thought they were going to put us in a hotel. I'm glad they didn't. There were two festivals going on. This was just a couple weeks ago. One was called Beer Fest, and the other was Comic Con. So they ran out of hotel rooms, and plus it was raining. So, okay. Well, yeah, that's just a bastion of weird liberalism. Well, I used to work there 3 times a week. I used to be at that university and at other hospitals, and it was a much smaller place at the time. It's grown into some weird shit, man. Alex then rushes, you passed the question. He just asked about why we find the CIA links in these events, focusing instead on the tranny question. Because that's the soup du jour. I mean, I know when my brother comes up with this shit that it's what he sees on Fox News. And then what he sees on Fox News is what Alex puts out there. And people think this shit is real. Like this is like, yeah, sure. I mean, I don't run into many. Well, yeah, actually, I do have. There are a few trannies here, um, but I don't. Not many. I mean, everyone knows there is one that works at a Kroger store down the block, but I wouldn't go in there. And that person is actually just kind of rather weird and rude. Like, really has a bug up their behind. Well, they can use these people once they have them all drugged up to do whatever, right? Um, Why are so many school shooters' family members linked to the intelligence community? Isn't it obvious by now, even if I hadn't blown the cover of all of them, unwinding them piece by piece? You should have figured it out by now. They are all linked to military and CIA because they are all military and CIA projects. Just like all the fake serial killers, all the school shooters are government fiction sold as real to sell you police, security, antidepressants, guns, pepper gear, and 1,000 other things you don't need. Alex is right about one thing, though. This is about installing a police state. As part of the, yeah, Kristi Noem is up to a bunch of shit right now, too. She's giving $100 million of your taxpayer earned income for anti-terrorism against churches. And then this other guy, some dude that works for Trump and Palantir and has connections to Jeffrey Epstein and JD Vance, is rolling out his new spiel. Then we have this thing called Clear, which is happening. You know, um, in the airports, I'm sorry, I just got distracted by something. In the airports, which is a service you can pay for, I think it's just under $200 a year, so that every time you fly, you can just go right through and you don't need to go and be raped by TSA. I mean, I hated this. I had crutches, stuff like that. They took them and they took them off to some room and opened them up and examined them to make sure there weren't drugs and shit in there, which I could see. But all I need to do is get it past a sniffer dog. And then they took my shoes. And they had me walking on the bare floor and going through without my shoes on because my shoes are dangerous. I had to go through a body scanner. And the first time I did it, they said, "I'm sorry, we're going to have to put you through further testing. You flunked the body scanner." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Let me do it again." I said, "But I don't have any shoes on. I'm walking on this dirty floor. And I really don't care for it." Like, "You're going to have to do it." And there were like almost 1,000 people behind me. And I went, "Oh my God." Okay. So I do it a second time. I pass it. Then they make me stand there, and they're just like as if, "Hey, this chick is a criminal, man." I looked at them and I said, "This is like really ridiculous." Then my jacket got lost. I'm like, "This is I said, "Could I please have my wallet, my cell phone, my backpack and stuff back?" It was just crazy. It was very disorganized. It was not professional. It was almost like they wanted. It was like part of the deal was, let's get you disorganized. The people that paid money to clear walked right through. Let me show you an example, and we'll go back. Um, uh, Here's Palantir. My brother's stealing from me. I had to call him tonight. He was at some bar in northern Wisconsin. And I'm like, "What happened to $10,000 of my money?" Oh, I mean, this is just like he does. Yeah. I mean, I know it. I said, why don't you, I said, since my name is on there, and you've provided the death certificate, their estate planning is going to tell me that how you divided. He had My mom gave him the discretion to divide the money as he saw fit. So he could have divided it to be 100% himself. And he said, "Well, I think it might be 40-60." I'm like, "You gotta be kidding, that dick." It was $10,000 more before I submitted and opened my account. I said, "What are you doing?" And he diverted. He knows I'm going to get him on this. I'm just like, "What are you doing this shit for?" So I was thinking of putting this shit in Palantir, but now they're down in 141 today. But let's check this clear. It's called U. I just hit the wrong key. U. So this is now set up in the Milwaukee airport and in JFK. It is a private corporation. I've already looked into it. And I mean, you can guess who runs it. All BlackRock type people. And yeah, that's okay. Looks like, yeah. Okay, so let's go back. It'll come. I'll get it. See, I just keep trying. Oh, that's down. Okay, wow. Okay. Looks like the market's been down. But this is the company. It's called Clear Secure. And the county that runs my airport is allowing the private corporation to take up more space and hire private personnel that treat you like you've got a gold card. And I said to myself, for $183, that probably would have been worth it. You're paying that for a meal in NYC, right? I would have, I can fast. I can skip eating for a day. Ugh. So I don't know. It looks like the market was quite down, actually. Oh, it's in their AI pick strategies. But I had to do an iris scan. All right. So this is the company. Out of control, kids. Okay. Sorry for the diversion. If I hadn't blown the cover of all of them, unwinding them piece by piece, you should have figured it out by now. They are all linked to military CIA because they are all military CIA projects, just like all the fake serial killers, all the school shooters are government fiction, sold as real to sell you the police, security, okay, I already said that. And this is what I'm saying. I mean, it's just, I would have been more comfortable driving to New York City, finding a garage, parking my car, than going through that bullshit I did on the plane. And then I was being treated quite rudely by a flight attendant that was clearly trying to start shit with anybody that so much as looked at him the wrong way. And then they just grounded the flight. They said they were running out of fuel, and I'm like, we are over Lake Michigan. It was the worst flight I had ever been on. And the pilot kept coming in saying, well, the company wants us to go to Madison. I'm like, why? So I went on like the airport website where you can track every single FAA at anything that's going on, airport closures, delays, diversions to other airports, cancellations. There weren't any delays, there weren't any diversions, and nothing was reported because the flight apparently ended up in Madison, but it was dropping off most of the passengers in Milwaukee. Then, since I'm on crutches, you're going to love this. When we deplaned, you're going to. There was an old lady there that had a wheel. Old lady. A woman in her 80s, maybe. And, I mean, she was just, an older woman using a cane. But if you use their wheelchair service, they put you through all the security checks. So because I didn't want to, I said, okay, I can walk through the airport. I said, I can do it. I said, why should I get on a wheelchair and shit? Well, I didn't know I was going to have to go through all that. And then they told me, they said, look, get a wheelchair. You'll go right through. So that's what we did. On the way back, and I hated having someone wheel me around, but I mean, they were taking me to the bathroom. They were taking me to buy water. I was like, what a great job that is. Just where you get to help people and just, But then I saw people taking advantage of using that clearly didn't need it, but just wanted to. And then in Milwaukee, one of the women, and she just like, I want my plane. She was fine. I can tell by looking at someone if they have a disability. She could have walked. It's not that hard to walk around the airport in Milwaukee, or, And she stood there and and she couldn't speak English. So you know what they did? Not only did they get her a wheelchair, they got her a translator. I pay city, state, county, and state taxes for that bullshit. Not to mention the federal government bullshit. I am now about to launch Gideon, America's first ever AI threat detection platform built specifically for law enforcement, Cohen said, adding, it scrapes the internet 24/7 using an Israeli grade ontology to pull specific threat language and then routes it to a local law enforcement. It's a 24/7 detective. It never sleeps, and it's going to get us in front of these attacks. Note the name, the precogs. Could have predicted this would be pushed by a Cohen. Then we find this at the Minnesota Star Tribune. Church, school, at center of shooting is a South Minneapolis landmark. Annunciation Church has served in South Minneapolis for over 100 years. Its school enrolls kids in preschool through 8th grade. Wow. Well, they didn't always, because we didn't have preschool, but okay. If I was in 8th grade and some shit like that, I wouldn't be just standing on the street going, ah! I did find something very interesting on this. Oh, the article is written by Mara Klecker and Eva Hershkowitz. Isn't it a coincidence this Catholic story is being led in Minneapolis by two Jewish ladies? Well, here's another coincidence then from ABC News. Minneapolis shooting. 8-year-old and 10-year-old killed. 17 others hurt. I didn't see evidence of that. You would have had to have had at least 20 ambulances there. But I just saw groups of people walking and hanging out on the street. They weren't doing anything. They were just walking. The shooter died at the scene from a self-inflicted gunshot wound by Emily Shapiro. How did I find those so fast? They were the first two articles footnoted at Wikipedia. Oh, they have a Wikipedia page already. Anyway, I watched that whole video by AJ on why the school shooters come from CIA families, and guess what? He never gets around to asking that question. He doesn't pursue it at all. Because, of course, if you ask if maybe, just maybe, the CIA is running these events. And no, I don't mean the CIA is training its kids to kill Christians. I mean, the CIA is running its own families to manufacture these fictional stories. Why? I've told you that too. It kills two birds with one stone, because beyond this being part of a gigantic and long-running Operation Chaos, they can fake the death of this kid, and he can go into CIA like his father, but undercover. Do you see how that works? If Robin Westman exists, a faked death is the perfect cover for entering a covert CIA program, isn't it? We saw the same thing a few days ago with Amanda Knox's comrade, Meredith Kircher, who also went into CIA MI6 on this program. So this is how, now in the can as well. I will not waste any more time on it, since its fake shooter's father is being CIA is the only clue you need to solve this. So it's just, it's right there. It's in your face.